Hello viewers, good afternoon and welcome to a very good show, very important show for those in business and those that have been able to, one, withstand the COVID-19 pandemic, but then also those that are grappling with the question of how they can be able to sustain and grow their businesses. Now this show is specifically here to give you pointers on how you can manage. It's sponsored by Uganda Investment Authority and then DFCU Women in Business. Now, again, just to rhyme with the last phrase that I've just mentioned, I have three distinguished ladies who have distinguished themselves as business people and consultants in that space as well, who are going to be sharing with us, a couple of their experiences here and there in how they've been able to build resilience, and then also try to get an outlook of how women specifically have been able to fare in the business arena, especially at this point in time. I'm your host, Charles Boji. Welcome to the show. Now, this is the point when I will be introducing my guests. I'll start with you, Winnie, on that side. You can greet the viewers and tell them who you are and where you're coming from.
Good afternoon, viewers. I'm pleased to be here with you today. My name is Winnie Lawoko Olwe, and I am the Director for SME, Science and Technology Transfer at Uganda Investment Authority. Thank you.
Very good. I'll move to you, Doctor.
I am Dr. Goodla Naiga Basaza, Chairperson, DFCU Women Advisory Council.
All right.
I'm happy to be here.
You're most welcome. Prudence?
Good afternoon, viewers. I'm glad to be here. I'm Mrs. Prudence Okunika, the proprietor of K Roma, producers of the best wines and juices in the whole world. Thank you for inviting me.
You're most welcome, Prudence. And wine, I'm sure, is a good business irrespective of the season.
I can say so, yes, it is.
Without a doubt. Very good. Viewers, our topic this evening or this afternoon is innovative leadership amidst business uncertainty. We understand that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a lot of uncertainty for businesses, and truth be told, some of the businesses have closed. Winnie, I'm sure from where you sit, you've seen quite a number of businesses that are not just struggling, some have closed shop, and unfortunately some of these are women-led businesses. Now, on that note, I would like to actually pick your mind because we understand, again, I was just looking at some of the facts from the MasterCard Foundation in 2019, which of course ranked us as a country as being not just entrepreneurial, but having a number of women starting up businesses, or women entrepreneurs for that matter. But again, it mentions that the same vigor with which we start these businesses is almost the same with which we actually see them dying. The mortality rate for business is quite high. Some can barely celebrate their first birthday. From where you sit, why is this the case? And what can be done to actually rewrite this fairly gloomy picture?
Thank you very much. Indeed, Uganda as a country, let me just first start with Uganda as a country, is a very entrepreneurial country. A lot of innovation, a lot of creativity, and a lot of, I think, a lot of seeing opportunities within the gap. And because of that, a number of businesses get set up. And when they get set up, they've been set up for a specific area. And in most cases, these areas have a lot of growth opportunity. Now, the biggest challenge that we see is that most of these, it's too tired. Most of these businesses start with a lot of vigor, a lot of interest, but somewhere around the line fail to create an internal competitiveness. And when I talk about internal competitiveness, I am talking about those pillars that help the business to grow, to scale up, and to remain resilient. And resilient here, I'm talking about being able to apportion your resources to meet that which made you create the business. Now, the other thing is when these businesses are created, in most cases, there's a lot of excitement, either from the customers, because like I've already said, they are filling a certain gap. in that area. The biggest challenge then we have is that resourcing and resuscitating the business to the next level.
Yeah.
Businesses have a pillar that they grow from. You start growing in terms of steps. And the challenge we have as a country is that in terms of the financial sectors, and with all due respect to the financial sectors, they're trying a lot. In terms of the financial sectors, the demand for finance or demand for cash or cash-based activities is so high that the big players tend to be the main focus. Your second part of the question was how can we look at helping those businesses grow? I think helping the businesses grow requires appropriate acceleration tools. It could be finance, it could be skills, and it could be just mentoring somebody to look at and to see, help you grow and help you move that extra level. Now coming to the women, I think the women are always continuously creating opportunities, not only to do business and grow their families, but doing business to grow their surrounding. The surrounding here in typical senses would be your immediate family, and in the African or Ugandan context, your immediate family is still your brother's children, your sister's children, and then the community is the extended family. Now for these women, asset becomes a very tricky dynamics within that ball game. And access to finance then becomes very complicated.
Another challenge, because you need the collateral and all those things.
You need the collateral.
And I think this is the point when I bring in Goodla, because you're not just heading a very important component within, of course, DFCU Women in Business. You are a businesswoman yourself. Because when you talked about the issue of resuscitating businesses, the issue, of course, the challenge that the ladies or the women are facing when it comes to accessing financing. And I want to attach also the issue of interest rates, which is now a song in the market. Because, I mean, if you ask an entrepreneur, just a random question, what are some of their biggest challenges? The first thing they will tell you?
Interest rate.
Interest rates, the cost of money. Now, every time or almost every month we see Bank of Uganda publishing or coming up with a benchmark rate upon which these financial institutions are supposed to lend. But we normally see the banks doing something different. And indeed, this time I think they published a list showing some of those that have, their interest rates quite higher than probably it should be. What is your take, on those realities in view of, the need that women have when it comes to access to credit?
Thank you very much. We need to know that banking is a business like any other business. And different businesses have their own cost of doing business. So you cannot come and tell me how much are you selling your chicken compared to somebody selling chicken in a certain village, because you don't know my cost of doing business. So when they are determining these interest rates, they are looking at their cost of doing business. Now, when it comes to us as women, when we are doing business, it's very important that before we go to borrow, we should be able to know that our business will be able to sustain the interest rate that we are borrowing at. When the problems that we normally face is when you borrow, get the money, and your business has no capacity to pay back that money and the interest rate. That's where we normally get a challenge. And looking at what Winnie said, when we are starting this business, we are addressing a certain need. We need to look at all the 9 areas of a business to run to make sure that they are running. Do you have a customer? Are you able to reach that customer? Do you have the right value proposition for that customer? Will you keep the relationship with that customer so that they are paying you and they know the value they are paying for? Once a customer knows that value, that means your cash flow is good. And once your cash flow is good, you should be able to pay back the money you have borrowed, because you are expanding your provision And you're expanding your business because probably you now know that I have more customers. But when I expand in a speculative mode, I think people are going to like my dress. But who tells you that people are buying dresses right now? I think as business women, we need to be present in our businesses. These issues of market research are not for big businesses. They're also for our businesses. Who is my market? What are the trends? What are the tests? Those are things we have to look at. And if I'm not selling, I cannot be able to pay the interest rate.
I hear you. Now, let me move to you, Prudence. You are in business. You, I mean, I've known you for over 10 years with your brand, Bella Wine. And one, I have to thank you for the consistency, but I would want to ask, because like I mentioned at the preamble, there are a number of businesses that have been challenged by the COVID-19 reality. And I know, you know, someone was telling me that this is the time for people not to do business by default. You now have to really have a clear and good game plan to keep in the market. I know the ability for you to stay in the market is just beyond good leadership. What else has really helped you to be in the market and stay the course despite the challenges?
Thank you very much, Mr. Bosch, for that question. I feel very proud that I'm still in business in spite of all those challenges.
Including COVID.
And COVID, I'm saying it because of COVID. Okay, before COVID, of course, there were challenges which would want to make the business close, but you fight on and you continue. But I thank God so much. I think with the way they say with God, everything is possible. He plans ahead of you. He knew COVID was coming. That is, you know, I had got market abroad so much. I went to 15 countries and they were all interested in my Bella wine, Bella juice. But lucky enough, the last trip was in Feb, end of Feb, and immediately March,
we had a lockdown.
We had a lockdown. And also, another thing that has kept me in the market before COVID and during the COVID, because we are still in COVID, it is not yet closed. It is hard work.
Okay.
Hard work means, since you said you have seen me for the last 10 years in this business, I've been in this business for the last 20 years. And I participate in each and everything. I don't leave an area, let me say marketing, before that market, somebody is there because I have created it and they continue with it. Then I go to another section. So I know my business from A to Z. So when this problem came in, I said, now what do I do? I always tell my workers, my children, always think about the books. Never say I cannot survive in this situation. Always think of plan B. And now we say time for me to think of plan B has come. We have been moving up and down. We have been coming to TVs to advertise our products. Now we cannot afford. We cannot move freely around. Now what is the next step? That's when I sat down. We were not stopped from talking on phone.
Yeah.
And that's the time I had time to talk to my customers. And they were very happy. And lucky enough, I have products which are good for health. And in this situation, people were just seated at home swearing. By the way, those who were not taking Bella wine, Bella juice, you can see them, they are swearing. But those whom I managed to convince and they took, they are very normal.
I like that, Prudence. I like that very much.
And it is a reality.
And I can see when they are dying of laughter. She's, I think, unnatural as a sales person. Little wonder she's where she is. Well, let me come to you back to you, Winnie. Of course, Prudence here and a number of people like her in business, women, you know, are looking for ways to actually fortify their footprint wherever they sit. And I know you sit in a unique position as Uganda Investment Authority, of course with partners like the MasterCard Foundation, to probably maybe a handhold or, you know, do something to support them. If there is that, probably you're thinking about what could this be and what could be in the works.
I think I'll first of all say one or two things from what Prudence said. And I think one of the things she's bringing in that we actually need to get a lot of women to do is to have a growth mindset. I think one of the biggest challenges that women have is sometimes we have a fixed mindset. This is the product, this is the way it's going to go. Now, the COVID pandemic has showed us that we need to have a growth market mindset, a mindset that thinks outside the box. And I'm bringing the thinking outside the box because you've asked about UIA and MasterCard Foundation. If they were to give us something, we would look at a very humble amount of $1 million, and I will break it down because I think it is workable. The first thing that this pandemic has showed us, and it has probably given us a kickstart, we are in the fourth industrial revolution. How are we taking the women? When you look at SME data, you'll find that in this country, Uganda, probably 90% of people employed are employed by SMEs. And if you take that further, you will find that probably between 60 to probably 75% of those SMEs are women. Now, the first thing we would want to do is to see how we take them through the path of digitization, digitizing their businesses, take them through scalability, and scalability here means really technology uptake. If I am producing cakes for a school, am I able to produce it for 5 other schools? And what does that mean? It's not always going to mean more jobs created directly. You could be creating jobs indirectly.
That's right.
The second thing that we would do with the money is to look at, currently Uganda Investment Authority has a national database of SMEs. We are trying to populate that database. We would then look at taking this database to the next level and make it an SME interactive portal. And what do we mean when we talk of an interactive portal? What are we talking about exactly? We are talking about a portal where if she wanted to collaborate, she's able to go into this portal and pull out all the people within her business. I think the challenge that most SMEs have is that they are not able to collaborate, to collate, and to meet big orders. The other thing we would be able to do is to have all stakeholders. Today, I think Uganda is being blessed and with a number of programs. And I think it was just yesterday morning, there was a show on NTV where the UNDP resident director was talking about the number of programs that are available for SMEs. But there's no one single place where you can go and tap and see what are the programs that UNDP has for me. How can I and my women group friends benefit from that? And then I think on that also, we currently run a very lucrative youth apprenticeship program, and we work with universities. And we are looking at directly providing experience for graduates to be able to get jobs. In this era when we want to all go digital, how much more can we empower the youth to be able to play with the gadgets within this organization and help them to market, help them to access buyers, help them to access partners, and also to help them to begin to uptake payment online. I think then the last bit of the fund, which is the most important component of this fund, I wanted it last so that it doesn't get mixed up, is to have an acceleration fund which directly looks at having those SMEs. There's a gap somewhere in financing. The small and medium businesses seem to be grappling in a vacuum without a specific fund to go to. I know that there are so many stimulants, and probably you'll come back to that, but I think that's how we would take that money. And I am sure the $1 million micro companies that they want to go into the major economy will be captured in this program.
I hear you. Yeah. Now, Goodluck, I want to bring you in again on value chains. Because I think one of the challenges that we see with many SMEs is that most of them look at, they're in their bubble, somewhere, and I think Winnie alluded to it a bit. I mean, how do you build those linkages where you have, let's say, SMEs sitting in a particular sector and, they support each other through different linkages, forward and backward, and you build a value chain that starts somewhere and ends somewhere where each of the SMEs is actually off-taking. As a person at the top of women in business at DFCU, how would you look at this? How can we do this, especially for women in this country?
Thank you very much. I think right now we have no option but to embrace value chain linkage. And I, for one, am into the white meat value chain linkage. I have 6 nodes of the value chain. And had it not been for value chain linkage, our business would have collapsed. COVID has shown that you can no longer work as an island. You need to know who is giving you the inputs. You need to know whom you are selling to. And they need to have an idea of your circumstances. The day you have no money and the person who has been supplying you inputs is known, they will not stop giving you the inputs. They know that you'll be able to pay because you're already in an ecosystem of trust. So we have no choice but to be value chain linked. And the message I would give to our viewers out there, when you were linked along the value chain, it has a lot of advantages, including financing. Now, we find that with our white meat value chain linkage, we need to fund one person, the one who provides us the feed. And we all wait. Once somebody has sold the meat at the end of the value chain, we all get paid. So now we are no longer have those things of all of us borrowing money. The only person who borrows is the one that provides us feeds. And when we are picking the feeds, we pick them on credit. When we are picking the chicken to go and roast, we pick it on credit. When we sell the chicken, we start paying off everyone. The other issue is about the risk and the cost of doing business. Just assume that you are one person running all the entire nodes of the value chain. That means you are the one holding all this money, all that risk. But now we are over 6 different groups of people managing each chain, reducing the cost of doing business at that node of the value chain. But once you are working alone, you are the one bearing all this burden. Then when it comes to technologies as well, we have seen an advantage in that we add value to our products because we are value chain linked. I may not have a place for processing chicken into sausage or whatever, but because in my value chain there is somebody who adds value and turns this chicken into sausage, into salami, into name it, we are able to fetch more money because we have somebody who has specialized only in technology. The third and the most important thing about value chain linkage is knowledge consolidation. Gone are the days when you do business without having knowledge on the business. That has long, long gone. Even if I'm the one who is working, say, on feeds, I need to know what are the different feeds, what are the food types that are there, what amounts should I give a chicken. So imagine you are the one who is learning feed, you are the one learning transport, you are the one learning chicken, you are the one learning value addition, you are the one learning serving the final customer. That's too much learning. Now, in the interest of consolidating knowledge into our value chain, each person learns so well what they know best. If we look at Bella, for example, I know Bella also embraces value chain linkage. There are people who are specialized in making the fruits she wants. And now she says we have to be organic. They have to know what organic farming embraces to tick on every box. Now for Bella, she was going to organize at her factory. Once they come, how do we make sure we manage all the critical control points? That's her job. So consolidation of knowledge is going to be extremely key for all of us. Then lastly, in terms of marketing, now we are marketing online. Because we need so many networks, one person, one business, you don't have enough networks. But because we are value chain linked, everybody is interested in us getting the last person to buy our products. That means that each one of us brings along their network to purchase our product. And all of us finally benefit. It's no longer me alone in the node of the value chain looking for market. Even the one who sold me feeds is waiting for their money. So we must sell the pork, we must sell the turkey and everything.
And lift everyone.
So value chain linkage, to me, it is a way to go. We have no choice. That is something we have to do.
I think that's very important because, I mean, a number of SMEs tend to want to protect their own thing, keep it away from the other. I see, you know, that coming out quite strongly. And I think education is going to be quite critical.
Yeah.
Prudence, of course, all these require leadership.
Yes.
I mean, it takes a visionary leader to actually see the need and importance of things like value chain, of working to win there and say, well, we need this kind of support and that kind of thing. But I want you to really share with our viewers out there how you've managed to, you know, hold it together as a leader, especially in these trying moments. Of course, embracing some of the virtues, like Goodla said, you've embraced value chain. So we'll pick that after this very short commercial break. Viewers, we're still here and we'll pick the discussion from there. Don't go away. The discussion continues after this break. Hello, welcome back. Once again on this show, we are looking at innovative leadership amidst business uncertainty. And this is a show brought to you by Uganda Investment Authority together with DFCU Women in Business. Again, we're talking about how businesses can build resilience and be able to, you know, overcome not just the COVID-19 pandemic, but I mean, whatever challenges that happen in business, because it's never a smooth ride. There are always, you know, bumps here and there. So Prudence, before we went for the break, I mean, we had heard from Goodla, and she had talked about the importance of value chains.
Yes.
And like I was saying, everything starts with leadership. Because I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't have good leadership, even some of these vacuums may not really mean much. Yeah. So what can you tell, especially the ladies watching us out there, you know, the importance of this and why good leadership is important, and what can they learn from you, you know, from that vacuum of leadership to actually build resilience?
Thank you very much for that question, Charles. As Madame Goodra was saying, you cannot do everything alone. But even her, where she's saying they have done it successfully, she's very lucky to have trusted people around her. You may want to do it with the people, but they let you down.
Yeah.
So imagine if I was somebody who is not trustworthy. When I was starting, I said you have to trust God. Once you trust, once you love God, you cannot cheat. You will be a trustworthy person. And once you are trustworthy, that value chain will go very well, because everyone will be trusting you.
That's right.
As she was saying, you cannot have money for everything. For example, we who are in manufacturing in fruits, a farmer cannot give you fruits 2 times. You are not paying him, and he gives you again. But if one time is okay, we have been paying our suppliers, I don't think they can refuse to give me during this COVID. Like, for example, me, I have a fleet of cars. Even right now, I have just cleared one, a fuso. I have not paid a single cent. But people are going to say this woman is very rich. Why? I used to get a loan, go to the bond, get a car, because somebody comes to my office, he wants to market my products. Another one comes, a driver looking for a job. I have my products. A marketeer comes wanting to market. So I used to go to the bank, borrow money, go to the bond, get a car. But now these people saw me finishing the paying for this car, then coming again. They said, no, why do you go to the bank? Come straight. So the few vehicles they gave me, they saw me paying them. I will never now. I get that car, put a driver, put a marketeer, put my products. One said, from there, go to the bank. Don't bring me the money. The money is not mine. End of the month, I am able to pay their installments. By the time you realize, we have finished the car. And that marketeer has a job, the driver has a job, they continue working using the same car. But if I had gone that bond and I don't pay, it would be a different case. There's the same as the suppliers. Even our customers, if you give them, like now this time of COVID, or any hard time, you start now changing the product to get money to avoid losses.
Yeah.
In a business, you have to accept losses. People think when we continue, you have said 10 years, but you can find maybe for the last 10 years I've been making losses. But the business continues. I have people pushing me because they see the resilience. They are one of them also. They have supported me. They call me for conferences which I wouldn't afford. So once you are trusted, leadership, you cannot be a leader when you are not trusted. That one is out. You can be a fake leader for some time, maybe 3 years. Can't go beyond that.
Time catches up with you.
Yeah, time
And reality.
And me, I'm surprised that once you put your life, your business in God's hands, He knows how to maneuver. Because like right now, URI has increased the taxes. A profit which we're getting on one box, they are taking it from each bottle. I cannot close the business. I'm continuing. We are continuing. You cannot double the price. Because I started wine, I was the first one, but now everywhere.
You open the others' eyes.
Yeah, I'm very happy for that. But again, I'm competing with them because my price, I can't go down. Because me, really, I made my research, I make a proper wine. I can't just pack things to show that what? To get money. But the maintaining of quality also pushes you forward. Some people will rush for those cheap things, which pack, even they try to come and they put near me, there is something on it almost better, but
Yes,
it will not
the
be.
copycats.
It will not be.
I hear you.
But my trust is in God, and God knows what I'm doing, and God knows what they are doing. I don't compete. I concentrate on my products, and
Doing
I'm
the right thing.
doing the right thing, and with the collaboration with my stakeholders, all of us cooperate. If you go to my factory, I've been with those people for years. I work with them. Look at my hands. I work with them. I've never behaved like a boss. I think also that one was.
Yes.
You lead by example.
But I did by example. Nobody opens my office. It is the last year after all those years when we employed somebody to sweep the office. By the time workers come, I have finished sweeping.
I'm sure that's a very good attribute, and our viewers are watching. And those that are really watching and listening have picked a thing or two there. Quite powerful. Winnie, let me get back to you on this. Because Prudence here is telling us some of the realities she's contending with as a business person. But I want to add something. I know at the level of policy, government has come up with a number of programs, to try and help people in business or entrepreneurs, especially during this season of COVID. I know one of them, of course, is that intervention through Uganda Development Bank. But again, if you speak to a number of SMEs, they will tell you, yes, we hear about the money, but access is another thing. Especially women, as you know, they have unique challenges and unique realities they are contending with. How do you think this can be made better for them to really access and feel or get that support, to get themselves to the next level, or at least live through this season?
Okay, thank you so much. When turbulence happens, a number of interventions come in place, but not all interventions will trickle down. But where there's a will, those interventions can be harnessed.
Okay.
Now, I know that although there are a number of interventions that have come in place, there are also a number of entry points that have been clearly stated. Now, I think one of the things which is, first of all, very important for women and youth to know is that the Women Fund and the Youth Fund are still there, and they should not run away from that. And those are accessed through Ministry of Gender and local governments. The turbulence that has been brought by this pandemic, of course, has caused a common denominator amongst all players. even those who have had opportunities in terms of import substitution, is that there is that bite on liquidity. And that bite on liquidity will make everybody wake up to their positions. Yeah. Now, the funding from UDB, I think the minimum fund you can get on that is 100 million shillings. Now, when you're already talking 100 million shillings, you know that the majority of women will not be able to meet just that basic criteria. But I just want to bring comfort, and I want women to really begin to think. I think across Uganda you have had saving groups, the village, the VSLAs, are all over Uganda. And I want to give comfort to women that that is the starting point for them to begin to start thinking about how to access funds. How to access funds. There are a number of banks, DFCU is one of them, because remember, even those who could have afforded the 100 million may not have the collateral which all banks want. But I know that they are friendly banks, and together with DFCU in this program of Rising Women, what we are doing is we are helping women to have a nice competitive environment where, one, there's a governance structure, two, there's some kind of formalization of the business. Now, most times we must remember that there are hierarchies in the women areas. And that's why we call it MSME. There's the micro element. The micro elements are the small, mainly in the informal sector, but they too need money. Yeah. So what programs are there to deal with them? And the programs for them are actually sitting within their localities. And I want to say this very clearly, that micro companies, whether it's youth or women, your programs are sitting with the community development officers who are within your area that work with you. Now, when you begin to move higher above, that's when we cluster them and we work with district investment clubs. When you now move to the next level, you have the small and the medium. And that's where there's a bit of a challenge in terms of program delivery. The same micro companies, micro and small, have what government has called, excuse my pronunciation, I come from the north, and Emyoga.
Yes.
Yes, so that is where they would be able to access that fund. Now, the others, the small and medium, should actually be accessing their funds through the Microfinance Support Center, either directly or indirectly through banks that are across the world, that probably are not as big as the DFCUs, but are able to provide them funds within their groupings. Right. But I still think that together with partners, and it's something that we will be working with partner banks to see how the small enterprise and the medium enterprise can be supported, not because they have land, because most cases they will have land which is owned by their husbands or their communities or the clan. So we need to begin to look at, does this product have a place in the market? How can the value chain, the supply chain, help this person to have financing into them so that the business can move on?
Right.
So it is still something business working. And maybe lastly, before I miss out on this point, for those small and medium enterprises that would like access through the Microfinance Support Center, we do support as Uganda Investment Authority to see how your competitive environment is and to support the discussion between the Microfinance Support Center and the SME.
Great. Yeah. Gudla, through, of course, Rising Woman, I know you've helped to skill a number of women at the grassroots. Now, of course, many a time we see at times one thing to skill someone and another to actually have these people use that skill and turn it into something. I just want to pick your mind on the impact of, those programs, the skilling programs, and whether you actually follow up to really find out that actually the people that got those tools, the knowledge tools, actually implementing them and turning them into something?
Thank you very much. DFCU has been running the Women in Business program for now 16 years. And the reason DFCU did this was looking at the kind of clients it had, women were missing. And even when women were in the bank, they did not actually borrow that much.
Yeah.
They always borrowed little money. And when they borrowed, they actually paid back. So they were the right customer that you would want, but yet you find that they are small numbers, and even when they borrow, their size is so small. So DFC asked itself, why are the women actually not coming to the bank? Why are they not borrowing?
Yes.
And when you come to think about it, in life, no one is going to give you a lift unless you're on the journey.
That's right.
There are many people who want a lift, but if you're at home, there's nobody going to think that you actually have you want to travel. Information is very important. So what DFCU did say, let us create opportunities where women can come together to get information. Information about their own business, growing their own businesses, information about scanning your own business and saying, I think my business is lacking here. I don't have, for example, a tax clearance. A tax clearance is a key to certain business opportunities. I don't have a tin. I don't have a barcode on my product. So raising awareness for the women to know the kind of things that are more like gatekeepers to certain opportunities. That is something we have done, and we can proudly say that the women we have moved with are compliant on those things that really matter as gatekeepers to certain opportunities. The other important thing that I've seen with the program of DFCU is networking, creating opportunities for you to meet other women you would actually not meet. DFC organizes what they call breakfast meetings. And in these meetings, you have an opportunity to meet a woman you have maybe seen on TV and had no chance to ever meet and talk to. And in those meetings, you can crack a deal and say, I can supply you a fruit. Where would I meet Bella in my normal life? But if I come to the Women in Business breakfast, Bella might be there as a guest speaker. After she has spoken, I know that I can supply her something. I connect with her directly. So there is the skill, but there's also the network.
Yes.
Now, the other thing is financial literacy. This is something a number of us did not get at school.
Yeah.
Then when we started business, we didn't start it because we were professionals at it. So you, and now you can no longer be proud that I'm the person who is doing business, but my financial literacy is at 0. You must understand the numbers. You must understand business. So what DFCU has done has gone a step lower and said, okay, let us move with the women. You have a budget. How do you manage your budget? How do you do your cash flow? So that they help you to understand your financing. You understand how you run your business. So that even when you decide, okay, I'm now moving a step higher, like Winnie has said, that, okay, now I'm able to go and borrow from the bank, you also have an idea. How will my money come in? What is my break-even point? What is the point of diminishing returns? Those are simple concepts that we thought it was only for people in economics, but actually we need in business right now. Then the other thing that I like about the skilling, leave alone the skilling where we are getting people coming in like Makerere Business School, Enterprise Uganda, Uganda Women Entrepreneurs, they come and skill. But there's also learning by inspiration. You are able to hear a story of a woman that associates with your own context. Somebody tells you how they started in a simple way, how they have also made losses, they have also learned their own lessons. You're like, okay, I'm not the only one who has ever lost. I'm not the only one who made a mistake. So you learn by inspiration, you are motivated to do certain things. At times they have exhibitions, like what they call the expo. Women bring in their different products. Then you also sit and ask yourself, okay, I am into this business, but I'm the one who always has the raw product. But now other people have gone from hibiscus flower, they have gone into the tea, they have gone into the juice, they have gone into the wine. So you are inspired to have options. Oh, I could also move on to the next level. So this skilling has opened a lot of eyes and has given us a lot of opportunities. For example, what I know, what DFCU Bank does, they expose women to different shared technologies. They take women to Uganda Industrial Research Institute. They take women to NARO, where there are so many technologies that if I don't have, I can still go and process my product. To me, I think that is an opportunity. All of us are not going to start and have an industry in one day. All of us will not have a factory in one day. But you can start somewhere. I can go and start at Uganda Industrial Research Institute. I make my juice. And once I grow, I've made enough money, then I can now have my own machinery at home. And once I have it, because I was helped by Yuri, I can also help other women to use my technologies. Yeah. So they are building a critical mass of women who are doing business the right way, who are connecting business to the right opportunities, and who have the motivation to carry on that resistance, that resilience, that persistence, and that vision that I need to keep moving. I know where I'm going.
I hear you. Prudence, very important aspects there raised by Gudula, and I want to look at it also from the practical sense where you sit especially. Yes. You know, the importance of networking as provided by such platforms, and the skills, especially in your journey, building Bella Wine. I'm sure a number of our viewers might want to pick, you know, some pointers from your experience.
I think that is the best question. They are my witnesses. I don't think there has ever been a what?
A training.
Okay, training. We have taken time without going to them, so I'm forgetting. Exhibitions, and I don't participate. Whether it is small or big, I'm always there. And I have to be there first and see how, let me say, when we started going to UMA, I have to participate first before I put someone, so that I can help that person to do what. And the way Gudula said, there's, you may, they say, in our language they say, if you don't go to eat in other people's home, you think your mother is the best cook. So for you in your house with the product, you think you are the best, people are flattering you, but now when you go to exhibit, you say, hey, this one is also like me who do a lot of research. I go abroad and do research. So when I put my product, so I didn't waste time going abroad to do research. Yet it stands out because of my effort. But if I was not attending, I wouldn't know. And of course, I don't go alone. I go with my team. And everywhere, we don't only go to Rugogo, when there's exhibition in Fort Portal, in Jinja, all over the country we go. And I attended, the last one I attended was in Moscow. The only African.
In Moscow.
In Moscow. Competing with the wines, Italian wines. They all came to me. I was like an attractive what?
A center of attraction.
A center of attraction. Thank you very much. They were good to say, and me, I also have from grapes, but we have from all the fruits. Yeah. You could see amazing, unbelievable. I'm sure they have copied our ideas. Soon, when the COVID is over, we will see wine of passion fruits coming from abroad, coming here. Otherwise, the whole world produces from grapes.
I hear you.
So, it also, if this COVID had not interrupted, it had created a very big name. Because in that exhibition, all the ambassadors, when they had Africa have been represented, I was with South Africa. South Africa, the government sponsored me. Nobody sponsored me. Yes. And another thing I'm telling ladies out there, never wait to somebody to push you. If on the way you meet, like now these ones are experts, they give me advices, you take. But never be there on blames. The government has not done this for me, Minister of Trade has not done this for me. You fight ahead, and you fight to go forward, not backwards. I always show, the little economics I studied, there is a curve. I always draw it for my workers. When I'm going on my business, it has been going like this. There are times when something is pushing it down, but that's when I put in all the efforts and I again continue. I don't want to go down. These curves coming down up, no? Resilience. And also, when I was starting this business, I named it. Better is not just for better. Belief leads to lasting achievement, and it has worked.
I hear you.
This better is not going anywhere. I may go tomorrow, but it will continue.
That's a good one. That's a good story. Yes, Winnie, we are nearing the end of this interface, and I would like to pick your, last words to the women that are watching us, and the business people out there.
Okay, I think for the women who are watching us, the COVID is real and it has brought in a new normal. The new normal requires that we are resilient and we look out for opportunities. I want to encourage the women to get into associations. There are many associations around us. Don't hobnob and keep jumping from one to the other. Be consistent, grow with your peers, and most importantly, understand the value chain of your products. Who gives you what? And what will it take to build that relationship that you grow? Last but not least, have an opportunity to go on our website, go under the SME platform and register your company. So you are in the national database and we can access you for programs, for linkages, and for support. Thank you.
Good luck.
It has been an opportunity for me to be here, and for women out there, I want to give you courage in this time of COVID-19. It's an opportunity for us.
Yeah.
When I looked at the results that were put out by URA, showing the different things that we're actually importing, and we have the capacity to produce, to me, I think it's an opportunity for us to produce those particular items. When you think of the women whose businesses have closed, those are likely to be the women who are selling other people's products. Now we have an opportunity to be the ones manufacturing those particular products. Let us seize the opportunity. Lamenting has its own space, but right now, let's seize the opportunity of being the ones feeding the country. We are mothers. We are the ones responsible for feeding the country. And in so doing, because we shall be addressing a certain problem or creating some pleasure or doing a job others hate to do, we shall be rewarded.
And the timing can't be any better. Government is pushing the import substitution strategy. Prudence, what would be your last word to the viewers out there who are looking for, I mean, there are many business people like you who are at crossroads at this particular moment in time. But then, of course, there are those that I've interacted with who are saying, we've seen certain opportunities in this COVID. Who were talking with Gudla in the break, and she was telling me about domestic tourism in the area of, is it agritourism?
Agritourism.
Exactly.
Okay, my last message, especially to ladies. There are very many ladies who, okay, most of them have come out, but there are still some who are miserable. That misery, you are the one creating it yourself. You can never make me miserable unless I want. Because we are in a city, though there is COVID.
Yeah.
And the way I started saying, think out of a box. There is too much money in Kampala. It is you to tap it. It's not a must that what you are doing is what, and you have been affected by COVID, you have to hold your cheek. There are so many other things to do. Don't get ashamed. I have ever sold Moroccan and I was getting my money and eating very well. Don't, like now people are sitting, come and trade in Ibera. How many women have come to me saying, now, I understand this hibiscus wine, hibiscus juice is very good for people with diabetes and what. If you are going to those, you can even use your phone. Tell people, you are very good at communicating more than me. Tell them, you have this wine, this juice, this tea, which can help you, people of diabetes. You get customers, come to me, you supply, you don't need to have capital. I started this business without capital, see how big it is. Once you are trusted, that trust, ladies, everything you are doing, trust God. But you cannot trust God and you don't be trusted elsewhere. You carry it. Whatever you are doing, God is your judge. Don't do funny things and put it in a public for money, yet is not good for their health. God is watching you. I say, I am producing better wine, is organic, natural, from natural fruits. You are mixing chemicals, food colors, putting in the bottles, and you are deceiving people. With the taste, they can be deceived that is nice, but it's very dangerous. But God is seeing what I'm doing. So ladies, God is your judge. And you can never fail. Try to do the right thing. That is the most important thing. That's the best capital. You don't need any capital.
I hear you.
Yes.
Well, viewers, thank you very much. That's all the time we had for this special edition of the show. We've been looking at, leadership, innovative leadership amidst business uncertainty. Of course, with the support from Uganda Investment Authority, DFCU, Women in Business, Raising Women, and I'm sure you've picked quite a number of pointers to help you, sail through the COVID-19 storm and then also go beyond that, because there's life after COVID. It doesn't end here. I'd like to thank you, Winnie, for creating time, Goodla, and Prudence. Thank you. And have a good evening, viewers. Until next time, God bless you.